cause that be natural.
Lady
I ain't
D.
looking tacky. I keep my game tactful.
Yo.
Yeah, I'm so nappy.
M.O.B.
Cause that be natural.
The infamous.
I ain't looking tacky cause I keep my game tactful.
I'm so pretty, I'm so fat, boo. I'm so natural, it's like it's a taboo. I'm so filthy, got the tattoo. Stuck in these bitches like I own ragu. On my business with my platoon. Getting these minutes like I'm a typhoon. Down the jersey on that cartoon and I'm sitting on top.
Welcome back to Afros and Baby Hairs, and thanks for joining me in the reading room for book review number 4. And today we will be discussing the Cartel number 4 by Ashley and JaQuavis. So if you're interested in my thoughts and opinions on this book, then please stay tuned.
I am not and do not encourage or promote this book to anyone who is under the age of 18. That is not my intention or motive. This book and video is for an adult audience, and I am merely sharing my opinion of this book. If you are under the age of 18, please get your parents' consent and or supervision before reading this book or watching this video. Now that I've gotten that out of the way, let's move on.
All right, guys. Now that you've already heard Dman's version of the book, I do want to go ahead and do a recap for those of you who are just tuning in. So I'm just doing a recap on book number 3. So I have some notes here too, so if I'm looking down, that's what I'm looking at. And because I wanted to be a little bit more thorough with these book reviews, so in case you don't get a chance to read it, you will have a little bit more information about the book. So I have here is Carter was locked up. However, Mecca and Zaire pulled some slick blackmail stuff on Ace, the star witness in Carter's case. And, Ace was Carter's best friend turned snitch. Mecca actually hooked up with Ace's baby mama just to kill her and threatened to kill the newborn son of Ace if he testified against Carter. So that's the slick stuff that they pulled to get Carter out of that situation. The little sister of Carter and Mecca, she was still being held captive by Mati, the leader of the Haitian cartel, and still being used as a sex slave until an earthquake hit Haiti and Mati's house crumbled on top of them, killing Mati on impact and leaving Breeze injured, trapped under debris and fighting for her life. Later, some men tried to save her. However, she ends up being human trafficked by some organization that came to Haiti to aid the victims of the earthquake. Really a sex trafficking mafia. So Breeze ended up in Mexico, addicted to heroin and working as a prostitute, basically. Soon after Carter's release, when he hooked up with the Mexican cartel, he ended up finding his baby sister working in a Mexican brothel. He bought her from the Mexican cartel, took her home so she could detox off heroin and to get herself cleaned up. Meanwhile, her boo Zaire, he was responsible for allowing the Mexican cartel's ringleader's younger sister stay with him so that she could keep an eye on her brother's investment. However, Zaire started sleeping with this girl before he knew Breeze was still alive. So when he heard about Breeze, he offered to take care of her while still having the Mexican girl by the name of Ileana live with him. So you already know Ileana wasn't having it because she wanted to be with Zaire. So she sabotaged Breeze's recovery by buying Breeze drugs. However, when Zaire found out about it, he beat the mess out of Ileana, causing another war between the Diamond Cartel and the Mexican Cartel. To Mecca was tired of running from his granddad and decided to go buy Estez's estate to try to smooth things out. However, when he got there, he discovered that his girlfriend, who he shot when he found out she was messing with his twin, he found out she was still alive and had a son, which is his nephew because the son is by his twin brother. So after she stopped his grandfather from killing him on that visit, they began to try and hook up you know, to iron things out. Meanwhile, he sent body parts of Mia Moore to the murder mamas to notify them that their leader was dead, which only made murder and the murder mamas want to kill the Diamond Cartel even more. Carter ended up getting out of jail and was wondering why he hadn't heard from Mia Moore. However, he had to pull off something for his Mexican cellmate that had helped him out of jail and helped him link to the Mexican cartel. So when he went to the cathedral to murder the priest that had molested the Mexican dude when he was younger, he ended up hiding in the confession box. And then, you know, he hid in there because he heard somebody come in while he was taking care of the priest. So it was actually his little brother that came in, and he ended up getting in the confession box as well, because since he had been dealing with his ex Lena, she had told him that he needed to change his life and all of that. So he went to the church to actually confess. So and like I said, his older brother was sitting on the other side where the priest was supposed to be sitting, and he confessed his sins about killing his twin Monroe and about murdering Mia Moore, who was Carter's love interest and the woman he wanted to marry. Well, after Carter heard this info, he went to look for Mia Moore at the slaughter spot and only found a bloody mess, but no body. He then ran a background check on Mia Moore and found out who she really was. Anyway, since the cartel was at war with the Mexican cartel, well, the Diamond Cartel was at war with the Mexican cartel and the murder mamas, they ended up faking their own death, have funerals and everything, and decided to flee to Brazil. Breeze and Zaire ended up getting married, and after boarding a plane to Rome for their honeymoon, Breeze was stabbed by Ileana. How did Ileana end up in Brazil on their flight? I have no idea. In the meantime, Mecca had asked his cheating girlfriend, who had a baby by his twin brother and was shacking up with his granddad and being caked by him, he asked her to run away from the granddad to come live with him in Brazil so he could help raise his nephew. However, before the girlfriend arrived, Carter killed Mecca because he was responsible for killing his own twin and because he was responsible for killing Mia Moore. It's pretty much, you know, the overview of what has happened in book 3. So now we're going to move on to book 4. Guys, I'm looking at my husband because he ain't read it yet, but that's his fault. But anyway, book 4. We found out that Mecca's twin brother Money isn't even dead. He was actually in a coma. His grandfather had put him in one of his houses in the Dominican Republic and had nurses taking care of him for 4 or 5 years while he was unconscious. Money has to be brought up to speed by the grandfather as to what has all gone down since him falling into this coma. So he learns of his mother's death and his own twin brother's death. He also learns that an outsider has taken over his father's legacy since John Carter retired and let Zaire run Miami. So of course, Money isn't feeling it. Learns about his son. He chose to wife up his baby mama and treat her and his son to the finer things in life, especially after finding out his accountant stole $5 million from him because he thought Money was actually dead. So Money used the thievery as, I guess I left out a word, but I guess he used it as a means to buy into the company of his accountant that stole his money. He used it as leverage, so he bought him a pretty hefty share in that accounting firm. Next, we find out that Breeze didn't die either. She actually survived the stab wound and took her place as the new reigning queen of Miami, right next to her husband Zaire. She also handled her first assignment of giving orders to the team to murk Ileana, and Zaire was honored to oblige her. Meanwhile, they had been taking care of Money's baby mama and son before they knew he was alive. The baby mama and Breeze had become really close. Carter was also taking care of his little nephew, making sure he was straight as well. My. Mee Mee wasn't dead either. Meaning, Mecca didn't kill her either. He actually let her go. He told her to disappear and to leave his family alone because he was actually trying to change his ways after discovering his ex was alive and after spending time with her, which is the baby mama to his brother. So I guess after Mee Mee found out about Mecca being killed, she decided to resurface and look for Carter. They ended up linking back up, forgiving each other and all that. However, we find out that Mee Mee actually sent someone else's cut off hands to her own squad. She had got 2 hands from a morgue and paid a tattoo artist to tattoo Murder Mama on the wrist and sent them to her squad so that they would stop looking for her. A mess. My question is, whose ashes did they dump into the ocean then? Oh, now these are just pointers from 4. Because I couldn't, I had to write these as I was going so I could remember. So anyway, the next pointer is Mee Mee suddenly wants a baby by young Carter. After they hook back up, after he discovered she was still alive, all of a sudden when they hook back up, she wants a baby. Carter has a Brazilian connect called Buttons. The next point is Monroe is not feeling Zaire. He is trying to overthrow the operation with the help of his grandfather, of course. So with that right there, like I said, Monroe is not feeling what's going on in the cartel right now. He's not feeling Zaire taking over Miami. And so it starts to get messy. Monroe has messed the game up for everybody because Zaire crew wasn't moving weight like they used to, or since they took Monroe to meet the Brazilian connect. I think I did that right. So in Monroe's eyes, he feels like they are moving baby weight in the cartel versus when his father ran things, they were moving like major weight. They didn't, so he's feeling like they're not making enough money. He feels like Carter is allowing Zaire to make the cartel look bad, basically. And some things that went on where, the little dudes off the corner were able to come in on the meetings and stuff like that. He was like, they would never be able to be in our presence when my father was running things. So he was just looking at them like, y'all doing this all bad. They ended up taking Monroe to Brazil because they didn't want him to feel like he was, a little player in the game. They were like, we not trying to act like you don't have any rank here. We just need to do this accordingly. You feel what I'm saying? So we gonna take you over here to meet the Brazilian connect and all of that. So when they did that, Monroe started making up his own plans to overthrow the entire cartel. So he ended up selling weight to the Brazilians. See, remember, he got with his grandfather. So his grandfather got connections to where he could actually be selling stuff to the Brazilians. They're supposed to be the connect for Carter them. So he really made them look bad with that. But he single-handedly dried out his brother's establishment unknowingly to his brother, all because he wasn't feeling Zaire. He also lied to the Brazilian connect that Zaire wanted to kill him, so he made the Brazilian connect prepare for war upon Zaire's arrival to Brazil. Even though Zaire said nothing about killing anyone, this was just Monroe's plan to get Zaire out of the picture. And simply because he was jealous and he didn't like him. Little did Monroe know, though, his brother Carter actually decided to go in the place of Zaire. Going in the place of Zaire, and because Monroe had set up this whole little sabotaging situation, telling the Brazilians that Zaire was coming to kill them, Carter ended up getting shot before he made it to Button's establishment. He was shot by Button's goons. In the meantime, Mia Moore is pregnant. It was revealed at a family meeting when everybody's dirty laundry was aired out. Monroe found out everything during this meeting and was no longer feeling Carter or Zaire. He said there was no honor among thieves. Monroe ended up having Carter's mansion shot up after the meeting because Carter wouldn't allow him to run the cartel, but instead he chose Zaire. So at this point, it's a new war within the family. Carter ordered Zaire to take care of Monroe, but Monroe moved first. Breeze had no problem forgiving Mia Moore, which was unusual to me, but I guess she has a weakness for babies, or she actually admired Mia Moore and could learn something from her. Monroe orders goons to kidnap Mia Moore, but Murder Mamas kidnapped her in their attempt to kidnap her. So Monroe was planning on kidnapping Mia Moore, but because Murder was laying off in the cut watching her, he ended up kidnapping her first. Put up on the back of her, one van pulled up in the front of her, the one behind her was Monroe, and the one in front of her was Money. But she didn't know that was Money. So anyway, he ended up kidnapping her, covering her head up, all this stuff. Like I said, it was like 2 kidnappings taking place at once, but Murder's goons got to her first. All right, so Carter thought that Monroe, because of the war, he thought that Monroe had kidnapped Mia Moore. So Carter went to confront Monroe at the estate, ended up holding the baby mama and the baby at gunpoint, only to have Monroe to confess his plan of kidnapping Mia Moore, but being beat to it. All right, moving on. Murder. Now this was strange to me. Murder was holding Mia Moore captive, hoping that she would forget about Carter and be with him. Murder also wrote a letter to Carter on Mia Moore's behalf, pretty much saying he doesn't want to be with him. She staged her own kidnapping to get away from him, and she is never coming back. And just like that, just like that, Carter bought that. He bought it. He actually bought the letter. He forgot. Now this is just me thinking. He forgot she was pregnant with his baby. How is she not going to come back or even see him again? So, like I said, I don't see how he didn't think twice about that letter. She just had found out she was pregnant. But anyway, so Carter went to visit their late father's right-hand man, Uncle Polo, only to find out he was working with the feds to help take down Estes for setting him up. Remember when he left Estes on that boat? When he left Polo on that boat, Polo didn't forget. So anyway, Zaire and Monroe had a war at Monroe's wedding. They shot the preacher and all. Zaire got shot in the stomach and didn't even notice it until Breeze and Monroe's baby mama made it to the wedding after the massacre had occurred. Murder. Moving on to the next point. Mia Moore ended up killing Murder with a plate. That was crazy. But I guess she had to free herself some kind of way. The man wouldn't let her eat with regular silverware. He always gave her plastic because he knew she was a killer and that he taught her everything that she knew. Anyway, apparently Mia Moore was really in labor 3 months early. Bree saw her being brought into the ER while she was there waiting on Zaire's surgery from Monroe's goons. Remember shooting him in the stomach? Breeze called Carter to let him know Mia Moore was there. Carter apparently still had faith in the letter Murder had wrote him on Mia Moore's behalf, so he was under the impression that Mia Moore had aborted the baby. However, he met his son after arriving to the hospital. So anyway, moving on. Young Carter made himself a target by visiting Polo. Also, everyone around him. The feds were on him, so he gave Zaire the warning to get out of the hospital and to meet them at the spot, which was where the private jet was. In the meantime, Carter went to visit Monroe. They had a fist fight. They ended the war. Monroe basically was throwing a tantrum about Zaire because he was jealous of how close they were. And by Carter being the only brother he had left, he felt like he should be close to him like that. The men ended up going to Bermuda. Not sure as what happened in Bermuda, but the police found the remains from the jet. The men ended up going to Bermuda, not really sure as to what happened in the Bermuda, but police found remains from the jet Carter, Monroe, and Zaire boarded in the ocean. So parts of the jet was in the ocean. Their bodies haven't been located yet, but the search continues. Meanwhile, the women they left behind think that they are dead and are being each other's strength. However, the feds are trying to pin all of the crimes of the cartel on the ladies due to the grandfather snitching. Breeze, Lena, which is Monroe's baby mama, they both get taken into custody. Lena's baby went briefly to state custody. However, Mia Moore bossed up before they got to her, and she lawyered up with Carter's lawyers and began to devise a plan to take over the cartel in honor of their deceased men. Breeze was even okay to dead her own grandfather due to him turning snitch. Basically what happened in 4. So I'm just gonna give y'all my opinion as to what I think about the book or the whole entire series thus far. So to me, there is too much division within the family, too much, just too much bloodshed within the family, and I feel like blood should be over everything as well as loyalty. So I feel like if Carter said that Zaire was cool and Breeze seemed to think that he was cool enough for her to marry, then Monroe should have been like, yeah, that's family. You feel what I'm saying? So anyway, the other thing, I am very much looking forward to seeing what the ladies are going to bring to the table. I'm sure it will be very interesting since Mia Moore is the ringleader, and she was the ringleader of the Murder Mamas. But I feel like she will have to train Breeze and definitely Lena. I am also shocked at the way Murder came at Mia Moore. Nothing about his character embodied or showed love for her. Kidnapping her, putting a bag over her head, all of that, I thought that that was a mess. And then she was pregnant on top of that. And then at moments, I thought he was even going to try to do something to the unborn baby. But I feel like once he saw that she had moved on to Carter, he had been watching her all this time, and I'm sure he saw them out and about. He saw her pregnant. They getting closer. It's like, at what point did you think, like, there is no chance for you? There's a whole new baby in this relationship. You see what I'm saying? And she ain't thinking nothing about you. So, and also, wasn't Mia Moore wearing Carter's engagement ring? So, even with that, but that's just my opinion. What I want to make is that Monroe has risen from the dead as a reckless piece of work. He was more composed before the coma. I don't even understand why he wants to take over the cartel so bad. He wasn't a big player in the game before the coma. Remember, he was over the real estate company. So I'm like, I don't understand what that was all about either. But those are my points, guys. What happened? So anyway, guys, let me know if you decided to go ahead and read 4. Tell me your thoughts on it in the comment section below. I do want to thank you all for tuning in today. I really appreciate your time and energy. I hope to see you guys on the next video. Peace and love. And as always, be blissful.
DJ Mike C on the track.
cause that be natural.
Lady
I ain't
D.
looking tacky, I keep my game tactful.
Yo,
Yeah, I'm so nappy, cause that be natural. I ain't
infamous.
looking tacky, cause I keep my game tactful.
I'm so pretty, I'm so fabu, I'm so natural, it's like it's a taboo. I'm so filthy, got the tattoo, fucking these bitches like I own ragu. On my business with my platoon, getting these minutes like I'm a typhoon. Y'all is cheering on that cartoon, and I'm still on top of these buffoons. I'm so nappy, I'm so nappy. All these dudes that wanna get at me, I'm so cultured and I'm happy. Jealous switches wanna come back me, cause I'm comfortable in my skin. End of the day, you lose, I win. I'm so comfortable in my ends, don't care if I make or lose a few friends, and I look like $1 trillion. Lady D won a lotto, cause in the Lord I